All right, we are back finally after a very long hiatus. How's everybody doing? I'm Dylan. This is Chelsey. We're back. We finally graduated college. That's why we were gone for so long. We were working on a project together with another one of our classmates that took up every ounce of our time, period, for the past month and a half. But it's done. It's over with. We graduated. We both won awards. It was great. We not Grammy Awards, not yet, but
right.
next week.
There you go.
All right, but the Jukebox Junkies, we are here to talk about music and pop culture and any crazy moments that happen. We just like to talk about music. That's what we both majored in. It's the thing that gives us life, and that's what we want to do. So what's up, Chelsey? I feel like even though it's been a whole week, I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever.
It does feel weird not talking every day because there for a month we were all day, every day.
I know I was talking to you more than my friends, my family. It was what's Chelsey doing? What's Chelsey doing right now? What's she working on? Is she at work? I need to know.
Right. But it slowed down. I've been
we made it.
And
we survived.
We survived for sure. That's the important part.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
It's weird. During that last month or the past little bit of classes, I was going out a lot with my friends, going out to different bars or whatever, all the time, literally never home unless I was doing homework, or never with anybody. But now that I graduated, I've literally been doing nothing. I go to work and I come home and I sit and just revel in the fact that I have nothing else to do, and it's so great.
It is. It honestly is to just be able to.
But yeah, just be able to just put my feet up and just chill and not have to worry about anything about what's going to happen except what's about to happen on The Walking Dead, and if Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license is going to stay number 1 for a million weeks. I was gonna say, are you there? It froze. I was like, uh-oh, does she not like that?
No, I am here.
Okay. Well, let's say you froze. I was like, uh-oh. Oh no, where'd she go? So we're doing this on Zoom, and even though we both had to use Zoom quite a bit the past month, I have no idea how it works. It's just, I don't know. So this is definitely an experiment.
For sure. Bear with us.
Here we are. Bear with us. We don't really know what we're doing. We're just here.
Right.
Also, before we really get into discussion, can I just say, Chelsey, I love your whole background. I love your whole aesthetic you have going on. I love the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and I see a little Daryl Dixon back there. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
Much better than my background, which is just a bookshelf that I did not want to have in the video.
Well, books are good too. I love books. I'm such a nerd. I have a bookshelf over here. You just can't see.
Yeah. All right. Well, as everyone knows, the Grammys were this past weekend on Sunday. It was a weird show because obviously they were in downtown LA, which LA, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is considered the epicenter of the world for COVID-19. So They had to be extra safe. It was all very social distance and everything. Well, I don't know exactly how you felt about it, but I really liked the whole setup. I liked the intimacy of the show. I thought it felt more of a love fest for music than it normally does. There wasn't all these big theatrics. It wasn't all this crazy stuff happening. It was literally just Trevor Noah and the artists, and I really liked it. I liked the whole setup.
I enjoyed it too. It was very different than anything we've ever seen, and I feel like they should continue to try to pull that energy to the Grammys instead of just going right back to over the top.
Yeah, I agree. And my speculation is the only people they invited were the people that were performing and Beyonce, basically. It seemed or I guess the nominees and the major categories, and and that was it. And then the performers, it seemed like they really kept it as small as they could. There were only a few presenters like Lizzo, Ringo Starr, Babyface, and those people that one bartender and the people from the different places that have been affected by the shutdowns. I don't know. It was just, I liked it. It was really nice.
I really enjoyed that they shined a light on the small venues and how hard they have been struggling this past year, because people are all the airlines and this and that and other small businesses. Okay, but what about the music business? What about these small places that jumpstart many of the artists that we know,
Exactly.
love and career? So
Exactly. Like a lot of people, I don't think realize the hit a lot of these, even like that one point they did that bar. I think it was it that bar in Nashville? Is that where it was?
yeah, I think so.
I don't remember exactly which one it was. There was that bar, but it's like a concert bar, like a venue bar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how hard places like that have been hit, because not only could their bar not open, but they can't even have their regular guests in there for like anything. Like it's just completely shut down. Like that would suck. And I'm fortunate enough to live in an area where places were affected, but only for like a month or two, and then everything was more or less back to normal. But
see,
yeah,
that's
it was
the
nice to
same
see them
here.
shine a light on those places.
For sure. And speaking
Yeah.
of Nashville, I mean, I'm not
Oh,
sure which venue they use, but Bluebird Cafe, like all of these places, that's what Nashville's built on, is music and beer, Uh-oh.
exactly. Speaking of beer, we are recording this on St. Patrick's Day. So, and I don't have to work today. So I have my obligatory green beer that is, it's actually the Sweetwater 420. And we just put some food coloring in it because I'm like, it's like beer made from weed. And like, then you put green food coloring. I'm like, that's perfect. It is not actually weed. I don't smoke weed.
Look, I was like,
It's made
Dylan,
from hemp and it tastes really good. No, 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 not at all. I've never, I can honestly say that's one thing that I pride myself on, is I've never done any drugs ever, period. Just, I drink a little excessively, but that's okay. I'm 22. I'm supposed to.
right, it's legal. Who cares?
How, exactly. How else do you think I was able to get salutatorian of the major?
Right.
Drunk the whole time. Yeah, side note, I was salutatorian of our major. That was pretty cool. I cried so much when we found that out.
A
And
big
then,
deal.
yeah, and then I panicked. I know this is a little off topic. Then I was like, oh, wait, doesn't the salutatorian have to write a speech? Like, don't they normally give a speech and do all this stuff? So that morning of our graduation, like we graduated at what, like 1 o'clock, I think it was, is when our ceremony started. I found that out maybe at like 10 o'clock in the morning when I finally got up and around and was human. And I was like, oh God, I need to write this. I like panically wrote a speech. And I was like, wait a second, they would have told me if I had to give a speech, right?
Probably.
But I had already written the whole thing, so it was like whatever. But okay, so shall we talk about, let's just go over some of the winners of the night, and then we can go through and give our thoughts on the winners and maybe who we think should have won, or if we think they got it right, or what have you. So let's start with just the big four categories. So record of the year went to Billie Eilish's Everything I Wanted. Song of the year went to H.E.R's I Can't Breathe. Album of the year to Taylor Swift's Folklore, and Best New Artist to Megan Thee Stallion. So let's talk about record of the year, because I have thoughts.
Record of the year was the one that we talked a lot about.
Yeah.
Right? I'm glad that Billie won. Personally, I feel like she's amazing, and she had such tough competition, and for her to still pull out the win, that speaks to her as an artist,
Yeah,
her power.
exactly. 100%. I think this really, like, if she wasn't already solidified in like pop culture history as one of the absolute powerhouses going forward for the next decade, she definitely is now. But here's my thought on record of the year. I think Everything I Wanted is a fantastic song. Like I love that it won a Grammy. Like it definitely deserved it. I think it's one of the best songs of the past year. But when I think of the year 2020, that's not a song that really comes to mind. And when I think record of the year, I think it should be a song that really defined the year, that everyone like could not stop singing, couldn't get out of their head. Like, I don't know. And I love Everything I Wanted, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like the record of the year. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
I get you.
I mean, to me, that song was "Blinding Lights" by The Weeknd, even though I know you're not a fan. But but like when you look at it, it's still in the top 10, like to this day, like a year and a half later after it was released. So it's like it should have won, but it wasn't nominated. So I'm like, okay, so it should have went to Savage or Rockstar or the one that I really thought was gonna win, Don't Start Now. I really thought Dua was gonna pull out the record of the year win.
I feel like if anybody really had the chance to beat Billie, it would have been Rockstar.
Yeah,
And that's just because it was everywhere. It was everywhere. Every car drove by playing it, every gas station and club and everywhere.
exactly. Like I was 100%. I really thought it was gonna go to Dua, but like I think, and so I like live Snapchatted the whole thing basically. Like every 5 seconds, I'm like, so this just happened, and this just happened, and this just happened. But I think when they were announcing, I'm like, okay, it's gonna go to Rockstar, it's gonna go to Savage, or it's gonna go to Don't Start Now. I was like, there's no, I just couldn't see it going to any of the other ones. Like I didn't see it going to Say So, didn't see it going to Black Parade or the Black Pumas. Like I just
Oh,
couldn't see it going to those.
sorry, I just realized this is the one where I said Say So was going to win. Look how stupid I look now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it was never going to go to Say So because Dr. Luke is credited as the producer, and if they had enough backlash nominating him, let alone if they would have let him win, it would have been really bad. Nothing against
Catastrophic.
Doja Cat. That song's amazing. I'm happy she was nominated. She deserves it 100%. It's just the problem of who produced it.
Yeah.
So that was never going to win, I don't think.
My thing is, and Dua, I wanted to see her just sweep the Grammys. I wanted to see her win everything she was nominated for.
Me too.
But I feel like the public still doesn't really understand her or appreciate her the way that they should.
Right. And so I really thought, because Dua Lipa is like you have Billie Eilish, who I just said is like really solidified in pop culture now. Dua Lipa seems like she's like a step under that. Kind of almost, I feel the same way about like Roddy Ricch. Like people know their name, they know they have some songs, but I feel like some people still don't have that connection. Like there's some sort of something missing that people aren't connecting with them as much as they are with Billie Eilish or Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Harry Styles or Megan Thee Stallion. So I thought she was going to win Record of the Year. I thought maybe Song of the Year. She could have won Album. I kind of knew Taylor was going to win it the whole time.
Yeah, me too. But I was rooting for Dua.
Right. And then in the pop categories, I thought she was going to clean up. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's go to Song of the Year. So Song of the Year and Record of the Year very similar. Song of the Year goes to the songwriter instead of like the producer, basically. So that went to I Can't Breathe by H.E.R, which at first really shocked me, but I was really okay with it at the same time. It was like that weird feeling. I'm like, I'm totally not mad about this at all.
Yeah, that was the one that we were both kind of on the fence about. Like it deserves to win. It has the message. Like if you were looking at it lyrically, then that would be the clear winner. But it was the Academy. Were the Academy gonna see it that way? And
Right.
I'm glad that they did.
Especially with their history of not really understanding like racial injustices and not really giving Black voices the stage and the recognition they deserve. So I think that was one thing we talked about. Like it should go to I Can't Breathe or Black Parade or we talked about The Big Picture by Lil Baby a lot too for this category. Like it really should go to them, especially after 2020 and the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and like all the rioting and all the Black Lives Matter movement. Like we talked about how it really should win because culturally it makes the most sense. But we just weren't too sure if the Academy was going to see it that way because you have songs like Cardigan in there and Dua Lipa, Post Malone, you had Julia Michaels. Like you have these really big hitters that sometimes you just really can't count out, especially with huge hits. The Box by Roddy Ricch, which I think a lot of people, I think you and I agreed that that's probably going to win. But I'm happy for her. Like she's been
Yeah.
nominated for a million Grammys. I think this is her first win in the Big Four. So I'm happy with it. Like, I have no qualms. I would have loved to see Don't Start Now, Circles, or Cardigan win it, but I'm not mad that they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're not haters.
Exactly. Like, I like her. Like, I want to dive deeper into her music. Like, it's such a double entendre. Dig deeper into hers music. I could whatever. Sounds weird, but I don't know. Yeah. So let's go to album of the year. So obviously, this was a really big historic moment. Like we'll talk about a bunch of like different historic moments that happened during the night with the winners. But Folklore by Taylor Swift won, which obviously but from this channel, we both love that album, as well as Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa. We've kind of built our whole identity over loving those two albums, like for this podcast. But only 3 other artists in history, and kind of 2 technically, have won Album of the Year 3 times. Frank Sinatra, Stevie Wonder, then Paul Simon has won it twice as a solo artist and once with Simon and Garfunkel, I believe. So like that's some pretty elite company. And now Taylor is obviously the only female to have won it 3 times. So it was like, because a lot of people said it deserves to win. It was the best album of the year, but they didn't know if it would because of she's already won it a bunch. Like maybe give it to someone like Dua Lipa, who's still not new, but more of an up and coming. She's not a legend yet at this point. She will be eventually, mark my words. But I don't know. I was so thrilled with Folklore's win.
It was perfect. It rounded out that whole era, just bing, surprise album, bing, Grammy, bing.
Yeah. The real question will be, Evermore isn't as critically acclaimed as Folklore. I think just because it's so similar, and I don't think it's as strong of an album as Folklore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it next year, if it'll even be nominated. I don't know. I would imagine it would be.
Yeah, but there's a lot of time in between now and then.
Exactly. But so I was looking in preparation for this today. I was looking at kind of the albums that have been released since the end of the eligibility period. There hasn't been that many really strong albums released lately. Like you have Morgan Wallen, but he's not going to be nominated because of the backlash against him. That's a whole other That's a whole other podcast we could actually get into.
For sure.
Actually, we should. We could talk about all of cancel culture, as long as they don't try to cancel us over some of our opinions, because I have strong ones. But like you had Megan Thee Stallion, you had Shawn Mendes, you had who else? Miley Cyrus. But a lot of those albums, like Ariana Grande, she'll probably be one that's in there. But you haven't had that many super strong albums come out so far this year, aside from Morgan Wallen, but that wouldn't count, and then Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande. Like I don't know about if Megan did well, so she might, and there's still a lot of time, but normally by now there's more front runners than there are right now. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping Cardi drops an album.
I assume she will, because she's now released WAP and Up, which I can't wait to get into her performance in a minute. Lots of thoughts again. I just can't believe that happened on cable TV. Like I can't believe that happened.
It is another sign.
Any other thoughts about album of the year?
No, I think Taylor is wonderful, and she's a great artist, and she really deserves it. I mean, she puts her heart and her soul into what she does. So
yeah. And for some reason, I feel like I'm happier about Folklore winning than I was with Fearless and 1989, solely because this is 100% her. Plus, she owns it like 100%. She has free reign to do whatever she wants now. She doesn't have these big wigs at record labels telling her what she should do and shouldn't do. She's not following a traditional release schedule. So it's cool. It's like it almost finally validates her as a creative more than ever before. Does that make sense?
Versus just a pop star.
Right, and I was listening to a song from Evermore earlier. I was listening to the song Evermore, actually, and I was thinking, how did the person that released Look What You Made Me Do also release this? Like, it's like It's so crazy.
Look What You
So
Made Me
different.
Do is one of my favorite Taylor songs.
Mine too. Just don't say it too loud. The general public might cancel us. But okay, so best new artist, which neither of us, I don't think, were surprised by the fact that Megan Thee Stallion won.
I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed. I was still pulling for D Smoke. Like, I was still like, D Smoke! And then I was like, oh wait, Noah Cyrus! Oh wait.
Yeah. I didn't forget Noah Cyrus was nominated, but for some reason she was totally off my radar until like I saw her sitting there with her mom.
And that
like,
dress.
I was like, hey, there's Tish. I was like, oh, there's Noah. Like, I hate that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, Best New Artist was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to. Like, I was excited about this category.
Right. Yeah. And there was, I mean, I was like, it's either going to go to Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, or it could go to Noah Cyrus because of her name recognition. People in the industry have known who she is for a very long time before she was even releasing music. So it could go to her. I was like, but other than that, I didn't really think it could go to anyone else. Maybe Phoebe Bridgers, like I know she has a lot of fans in the industry. But when they said Megan Thee Stallion, I'm like, yeah, not a shocker here.
Yeah, I mean, and you're a huge fan of Megan, like, and I know that. And I don't really know much about her. Like, I've heard a few of her songs, you know, of course I've heard WAP with Cardi B, but that's because I love Cardi. So I was very impressed by how like humble she seemed and super appreciative of even being at the Grammys, you know, and it really kind of changed the way I thought about her.
Right. She strikes me as someone who hasn't quite realized how famous she is and how successful and how good she is. She really comes across as, yeah, like you said, she's very humble. She's like, what? Me? Really? You're talking about me? Like me? Like she does it's like she can't believe how well she's doing. And I love that. I can't wait to talk about the moment when she was on stage with Beyonce and she's just like
right. Like the normal reaction to being on stage with Beyonce.
It's like you being on stage with Florence Welch or me with Taylor Swift.
I would pass out. I wouldn't be able to point.
And she's just like standing there like in awe of you and like appreciative and like telling you you're doing such a good job.
Right.
Like, if Taylor Swift ever told me you're awesome, I would probably melt into the floor right there. Like there'd be no more me. I couldn't handle it. So it was so cool to see her be able to do that and be on stage with her idol, someone who I've heard her, because I watched a lot of interviews with her and stuff, someone that she's talked about over and over and over again is someone who is so important to her.
Yeah, and I think that comes from not just being two strong Black powerful women. They're both from Texas, right? So that kind of really, as a young girl, I'm sure growing up, Megan was watching Beyonce like, I can do that. I can be her if I want to. Exactly. Now look.
Yeah. And Taylor Swift, she's from Reading, Pennsylvania, which was only a couple hours from where I grew up.
Oh,
so I kind of have that extra connection with her because I remember when she was first starting out, when I was living in Pennsylvania, they're like, she only lives, I think it was like 3 hours from us. And I'm like, wow. And she lives right there in Pennsylvania, a town that I've been to before. So I'm like, that's so cool. So I think that was another part. Sorry, I keep bringing up Taylor, but that was another reason why, like, I loved her, I think, from a young age so early. So I'm like, oh, she doesn't live that far away. That's really cool. Like, let me see what she's doing. But well, so I imagine that was, like you said, same thing with Megan and Beyonce.
Definitely. You know, like, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of America's Next Top Model and they talk about being role models and stuff. And sorry, that's.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what happened. It was pretty cool. So we can go through the rest of the categories pretty quickly. For the pop categories, for pop solo performance was Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar. Best pop duo group performance was Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande's Rain on Me. For best pop vocal album was Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia.
Yes. Yes. I didn't know Rain on Me won. Good for them. I didn't think they stood a chance.
Yep, Rain on Me won. Yep. So yeah, I didn't think they stood a chance at all. Oh, we can go into best pop duo group performance.
Oh, we don't
Taylor
have
and
to.
Bon Iver didn't win for Exile, which really surprised me. Well, no, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Okay.
And then I kind of was expecting BTS to win. For some reason, I just had like a feeling that it was going to go to BTS. They were performing, like the song was actually really good, a big hit. I really thought it was going to go to them. But I was not mad about Rain on Me at all.
No, not at all. But definitely thought that Taylor had that one in the bag too. I was surprised that nobody really kind of swept anything.
Right.
It was kind of divvied up.
Right. So one of my main thoughts for the entire show, like for all the categories and everything, the only person that really won multiple awards was Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And it really felt like I have a hard time believing Watermelon Sugar got more votes than Don't Start Now or Cardigan, or like even Everything I Wanted, because they were all nominated in that category. Like I have a hard time believing Harry Styles actually won, but I think they were just, it's almost like they were trying to recognize as many artists as possible because there was so much good music last year and so much super critically acclaimed music last year. It's almost like they're like, okay, we'll give this one to Dua, we'll give this one to Taylor, give this one to Billie, give this one to Megan, give this one to Harry, so that way everyone gets something.
They had
you know
it
what
on
I mean?
the wall.
I don't know if that's true, but it's really what it felt like.
And they looked like that guy in the meme, like the one where you're trying to convince your friends to buy a plot of land. Do you know which meme I'm talking about? That's what they looked like when they were trying to decide who to give it to.
Yeah, that was like when I was watching it and they said Harry Styles, I'm like, yay, because I love Harry, but I'm like, weird.
I had the same reaction. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, and then for best pop vocal album, I actually do believe that Dua Lipa probably did win that. And I was really rooting for Dua in that category, only because when I think of pop albums, that is one of the best I've ever heard, period, my entire life. And like Folklore is a pop album, but it's not. And so, and especially since it won Album of the Year, I wasn't too mad at it. I was like, Future Nostalgia has to win that one. I'm like, it could go to Chromatica, it could go to Fine Line, but has to go to Future Nostalgia. So I was happy about that.
Good deal.
Yeah. All right. So a few of the other categories, I'll just run them down real quick. I didn't do every category. It's just the
There's
bigger
so
one.
many.
Yeah. Best rap song and best rap performance both went to Savage by Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. For best melodic rap performance, surprisingly went to Anderson .Paak with Lockdown, which is another one of the, I almost say quarantine anthems. No, one of the Black Lives Matter movement anthems from the past year that came out. So I was happy with that winning. It beat Rockstar and The Box, which really surprised me, but it's fine. Best music video went to Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce, St. John, WizKid, and her 9-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy, which is pretty cool. So yes. Congrats, Beyonce, Jay-Z, your daughter, now not even in double digits, has a Grammy. She is actually the second youngest person to ever win a Grammy. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For best dance recording, I threw this one in here for you. Went to 10% by Kate Trinata and Kali Uchis, which, side note, Kali Uchis' new song, Telepathia,
dude, awesome.
Good song.
Yeah. Yes.
Then I did best R&B performance, went to Beyonce's Black Parade. Best country duo group performance went to 10,000 Hours by Dan and Shay and Justin Bieber. So Justin Bieber now has a country Grammy, I guess. He has a Grammy for best dance recording, and then he has a Grammy for best country duo group performance.
But none for pop.
None for pop and none in the general field. It's really weird. And then best remixed recording went to Roses by St. John and Imambik. So that was a big hit. And you love that song. So
I do love that song.
I hate that song. And I was really hoping it was going to go to Young and Alive remix by Bozzy. But can't get everything I want, I guess.
No, you're not Billie Eilish.
Okay, so any other general thoughts about any of the winners or anyone who would have liked to see win? Like I said, I really wish DaBaby and Roddy Ricch would have walked away with at least one award. it's okay they didn't. I'm sure they're gonna have more chances in the future.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I agree. I would have liked to see DaBaby win, especially after his killer performances. Obviously, I would have liked to see my man Diplo win in the dance category, but that's okay. And it is what it is. I was really glad to see the love shared and spread out, and I really was surprised that nobody swept anything away, and it was really very a fair, even playing game.
Yeah, like I really expected to go into this being like, okay, now it's Taylor Swift's turn on stage. Okay, now it's Dua Lipa. Now it's Taylor Swift. Now it's Dua Lipa. Oh, there's a hint of Beyonce. That's kind of what I expected going into the night. And obviously, if that happened, I'd be totally happy. But it was nice to see everyone kind of get a little piece of the pie. Because
let's be honest, that never happens.
Exactly. Look at last year when Billie Eilish won Record Song, Album, and Best New Artist and Best Pop Vocal Performance.
She had all of them.
Doing that. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say about Billie Eilish winning. You didn't see this part of the show, I don't think, did you?
No, I didn't.
So when she got up on stage, she was blown away. Like I think she kind of felt like we did, that she didn't think she was going to win because there were so many strong songs in that category, and she wasn't the front runner this year. She got on stage and she just looked at Megan Thee Stallion. I don't even have to say the Stallion anymore. It's just looked at Megan. She goes, "This is your award. Like, why did I win this? Like, this is your award." She's like, "You deserve it. You should have won it." And then she's like, "Everyone give a round of applause to Megan Thee Stallion."
Oh man. Oh, yeah. Billie, I love you even more.
Yeah. Because I mean, and it's kind of fair. Like, it really did feel like maybe Savage should have won, especially after the night that both of them had. It would have been great, but it was cool. Everyone felt so humble, and everyone was just giving each other love, and it was great.
Maybe
I was shocked Beyonce was there.
Were you?
Yeah, they don't go anywhere. They're like, aren't they like god figures now? Like, they actually make public appearances. I didn't know.
Oh, I was gonna say that maybe we'll get some kind of like Billie Eilish, Megan Thee Stallion team up now. That would be great. Collab.
That'd be
interesting to say the least.
I'd totally be down. Lizzo and Megan Thee Stallion had a moment on stage. Can you imagine? I think that was towards the beginning of the show, maybe when she announced Best New Artist. I would love a Lizzo, Megan Thee Stallion team up.
Yeah, that would really click and be way better.
I think I just want Lizzo. Yeah, I just want Lizzo to release music again. It's been so long. I can only live off watching all of her TikToks for so long before I need more music.
Well, at least Lizzo puts out TikToks. Florence does nothing.
Her and Lil Nas X both.
She has no.
Yeah, side note, if you're not on TikTok, get on TikTok and just watch all of Lizzo's page and all of Lil Nas X's page, because they are both so funny. I live for their TikToks. But okay, so let's go into I'm looking at my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, they're the back. I'm like, I knew I typed up more thoughts than this little bit. Okay, so the biggest thing I think I want to talk about the night over the performances were how good they all were. So what was your favorite performance of the night? If you had to pick one performance that you think won the night, what do you think it was?
I'm gonna say Megan Thee Stallion's verse on the WAP performance was the best to me. I loved the camera angles. I loved the feel of everything. I like how she came in and she's like, huh, huh, huh. Yeah, she honestly, don't tell Cardi, because I love Cardi, but Megan almost outshined Cardi on that performance.
Don't tell Cardi I'm saying this either, but I had the same thought. I think so. Let's talk about Megan and Cardi's performance. Cardi she didn't seem nervous, but I think she had so much to remember of what she could and couldn't say. I think it was she seemed distracted.
It wasn't only that outfit she was wearing was super duper heavy. Like, so you're trying to remember not to curse on national television and say the P word. And then you're also carrying around like 200 extra pounds of outfit, you know, like it's hard being an entertainer, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
she did seem very awkward though, almost. And
But
I kind of attributed it to the outfit, but it could be like you said, she was just concentrating too much, because we all know Cardi ain't really all the smartest, you know what I'm saying?
what?
That's weird. That's suspicious.
I think Cardi's a lot more intelligent than she lets on. I think it's part of her image. I think she's smarter than she lets on, because I don't think she could have as successful as a music career if she wasn't, if that makes sense.
I mean, you may be right. I feel like, okay, I do feel like she's a little more intelligent than she lets on, but I feel like she's a very ditzy person.
100%. I want to be her friend in the worst way.
So bad.
Yeah, I love her to death. But I just couldn't believe they were actually allowed to perform WAP on the Grammys. Like, not even just the Grammys, but like on CBS. Like, don't children go on CBS? Like, don't families watch that? It blew me away. I'm fine with it because, like, whatever.
But don't children also watch TikTok, where Addison Rae and everybody else has been doing the WAP dance for, you know, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Why should the influencers and the content creators be able to use this song and do what they want to? And that's okay. You're fine with your children seeing that, but the people who actually created the song, you know, so I don't see where they had any choice but to let them, because it is such a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it went like 5 times platinum in 7 months. You know, that's
Exactly.
crazy. So
and I think if people are still up in arms about Cardi's brand and what she does, I think they really just need to start getting over themselves.
Right.
Because all in all, it's not like she's going out and saying anything. She's using bad language, she's using profanity, and she's talking about sex. But like, what's wrong with that? She's not saying go do drugs, go kill people. Like, there are songs out there that say that, and I could understand if people are a little up in arms about songs like that. But literally, Cardi's just being like, yeah, he want this. I don't even like saying it. He wants.
I don't even say it either. I don't, you know.
I'm a gay man. I really don't want to say it.
But see, the thing is, it's because she's a strong, powerful woman. That's all it is. If a man was to release a song that was exactly the same way, and we've all had this conversation, we all know what it is. But also, I'm with you. If they don't support it, if they don't like it, they don't have to. You don't have to see Cardi B. There is so much content out here that you can completely ignore her if you want to.
Exactly. And like, nothing Cardi's doing right now is any different than what someone like Missy Elliott was doing 20 years ago.
Exactly.
But I was talking to my dad about WAP. Was it this morning or last night? Something about, I was telling him about how I love trapping my dad into listening to Megan and Cardi. Like, anytime I get in the car with him, I'm like, hey dad, guess what I'm gonna play? And I turn on Megan and Cardi every time just to trap him.
I have
a funny story about that. But I was telling him, I'm like, hey, so guess what? Cardi and Megan they actually performed WAP on the Grammys. He's like, what? No way. I'm gonna have to watch that. And where was I going with this? What were we just talking about?
You were talking to him about watching it. We were talking about Cardi and not being.
Okay. I know what I was gonna say. And I was telling him about how like people are so up in arms about it, and they're so controversial. But I'm like, today we have WAP, but yesterday they had Baby Got Back, which had just as much backlash and was seen just as horrible and as profane back then as WAP is seen now. Right. It's all about just pushing the boundary. But if it's good music, it shouldn't matter. That's how I see it. And like, right. Baby Got Back is a cultural phenomenon. I think WAP will go down similarly with a similar kind of story as Baby Got Back.
See, to me, Cardi is like Elvis, and I know that's a weird
I was
kind
just
of
thinking that. You read my mind.
like they're kind of one and the same, because Elvis was like such a big deal when he started shaking his legs all funny, you know? And so for Cardi to really express feminism and the way that it has grown to be in the modern culture, like we're not wearing corsets, we are not, you know, subservient hardly anymore. You know, it's just a different era for women, and I appreciate that Cardi
You got them
represented.
wops.
Yes.
You know, so I was listening to this podcast the other day about the Grammys. It was like it's like leaning into the Grammys or whatever. They were kind of talking about the history of it, and I didn't know much about the actual history and why they were started. But basically, the recording academy came together to try to protect the identity and the integrity of music, because there were artists like Elvis coming out who were seen out. He was up there shaking his hips, which was just such a no-no back then, like such a bad thing. And they were trying to protect the institution of pop music, basically. And so they were it was basically just like award like Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and like these people who were very traditional and like socially acceptable at the time, and not someone like Elvis who's out there just gyrating his hips and making all the women swoon. And so it's kind of a full circle moment to this weekend when you get Cardi singing that song on the Grammys. You have Megan Thee Stallion winning. And if we're talking about protecting the institution of pop music, that Taylor Swift, maybe not even Dua Lipa, like Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish would have won everything. Like if we wanted to play it super, super safe. But I'm happy that we've been able to grow from that to protecting the institution to really starting to understand not just us, but like as a society, and then the Recording Academy really understanding and accepting all kinds of styles of music, all no matter what it is, like as long as it's good music, we don't care, except unless you're The Weeknd, and we don't care about you apparently, but everyone else, you know.
Maybe it's because
But
he's
I didn't say
Canadian.
that.
Isn't he Canadian?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's Canadian. So just to touch on some other performances. So I put together okay, so these are the performances I think were the absolute winners of the night. Dua Lipa and DaBaby.
Yes.
Taylor Swift. And then DaBaby with Roddy Ricch, like the rock star, was great. Haim blew me away. I have Cardi B and Megan, and then Megan's performance when she did Body and Savage. BTS, Lil Baby, Bruno Mars, and Anderson .Paak were phenomenal. And then Mickey Guyton, who I'm not too familiar with, but I thought she blew it away.
Okay, so I know when you asked me this question, like which one was my favorite earlier, I went right into Megan and her verse on Body, but as a whole, I loved Lil Baby's Bigger Picture. I think it was probably the best of the night, like as a whole.
Do you know if it was performed live? So was that like all live or pre-recorded?
It looked pre-recorded. I'm not going to say that it was. I don't know for sure, but it looked pre-recorded to me. So that's why I don't know if we can count it as a live performance, because if it was pre-recorded, then we'll say Dua Lipa and DaBaby, because when they knelt down and they were like singing together and like right in each other's faces, I loved it. I was living.
Dua's whole performance, she would be my winner for the night, even though I was like bawling, sobbing, crying when Taylor Swift was performing. Going back and rewatching them all, Dua was she is out of this world. Like, I hate that I used to give her such a hard time, and I was not a fan of hers for so long, because man, she blows me away. I was left how like Lady Gaga used to leave everyone just speechless by what she could do when she was first starting. That's the feeling I get from watching Dua Lipa right now. She's just next level phenomenal.
she's so aware of every movement that she makes when she's on stage, and it's mind-blowing, honestly, because performing, there's a lot going on. Have you ever performed? You did some acting, right? A little bit.
Yeah, nothing to any of that kind of level, but I mean a little bit. I have some general idea of how it all works.
But remembering the choreography, remembering your words, putting it all together, doing it in those great big shoes that they all have to wear, it's a lot. And that was the best she's ever sounded live, in my opinion.
I
And
100% agree.
so aware of what her body looks like on stage, and just, I don't know, I love her anyways, and it was a great performance.
Yeah. And then going into DaBaby, not only did he kill it when he came in to sing his verse for Levitating, which the fact that she even performed that, I've talked about this a million times. Levitating, I think it's like Party of the USA level pop perfection for me. Like it's perfect. Like I could go on and on and on about it. But DaBaby, like, so his performance of Rockstar, which also brought in Roddy Ricch, aside from, I think it was Anthony Hamilton, who I don't know who that is. I just saw his name listed. The guy who's like the background singer dude who was performing with him. Aside from not really understanding what he was doing there, it was a great performance. But okay,
Rockstar was the one with the judges, right? The old
judges. I was just about to ask, what are your thoughts of like those women judges, background singer, dancer ladies that were there? What was their purpose? I was fine with it. It was cool, but
it is a visual metaphor for him going in front of the judge to handle that case that he was in. He really did actually shoot somebody in front of his daughter. You know what I'm saying?
In Walmart.
Yeah. So I feel like that was a visual representation of the court systems and what they do to Black men in particular. We all know that's a problem.
Why did I not put that together?
I don't know. Prison reform and like the justice system is something I feel really strongly about. So I immediately was like, oh, well, look at him. You know what I'm saying? You're making a statement, and I like it.
See, and normally I'm pretty good at putting those kinds of messages together, and it didn't click. That makes sense, though. It really should have clicked.
I mean, that's, to me, because that's what that song is. Isn't that what that song's about? That verse is in there, isn't it? Yeah.
So, pretty much. Yeah. At least the first verse is it talks about he killed a man in front of his daughter to protect her, and he'd do it again if he had to, because he loves her and he'll protect her until the end of the world, until the end of life, basically.
And so, I thought it was a really good way to incorporate everything, in my opinion. I loved that performance too. I loved all of the performances. They were amazing. Even Black Pumas, I didn't even know them, and I enjoyed them.
Yeah. I'm really starting to like that song Colors that they performed. I had listened to it like when it was first nominated, the first time I ever heard about it. So I listened to it, and I liked it. I had nothing wrong with it, but it didn't like really stick with me. But so I saw that it's actually growing on alternative radio right now. It's I believe number 20 on alternative radio airplay right now. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And so then I added it to, I run a record label. No, I run a little radio station out of my house that just streams on my portfolio website. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to add this. So I've been listening to it more, and I really like it. Like, it's really grown on me. So I really like Black Pumas. I wouldn't mind seeing them have legit success and become like more of a household name.
Yeah. And I know you touched on H.E.R, and those girls, I have been down with them since probably 2013-ish, 2014-ish.
I think I've known about them since 12.
Maybe.
I remember when The Wire came out. I love that song, The Wire.
Yeah, even before that, though, because they hung out with Florence Welch of Florence and the Machine. And so I was always seeing them everywhere. And they are so glamorous and so awesome. And it was a really good moment for me, because they opened for her on one of the tours I went to see her on. And to see them go from the very beginning stages of that opening act to just rocking out like there were, oh, it was great. It was great.
I kept waiting during, I was waiting for it during their performance, and I was waiting for it during Taylor Swift's performance because they now have 2 collabs together with No Body No Crime, and then the remix of Gasoline they put Taylor on. I was really hoping they were gonna perform at least one of those songs together. I was really hoping for Gasoline because I think that's such a great song. Didn't happen, which is fine, but I was really hoping for it. That would have been great. I would have loved to see them rock out with Taylor.
Right.
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool to see Taylor rock out because she's always so composed.
Right? I want to see Taylor just lose it and like break
right.
the stage. Because she can do it all, so I'm sure she could do that. Like,
right.
Yeah. So what did you think about Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak? Did you watch their performance?
Bruno looks so old. What happened to
you? I was thinking that, like, he looks so different. Like, compare what he looks like now to what he looked like in the Just the Way You Are music video.
It could just be the little mustache thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He looks very different.
I still look, I love Bruno Mars personally. I think he will never get better than Unorthodox Jukebox. I think that was an amazing album from start to finish.
I believe that won a Grammy. I think it won Best Pop Vocal Album back in the day.
Good for it. I wasn't paying attention because that's when I had turned 22. But I do love Bruno Mars. I think he's one of the most versatile like R&B pop artists that we have of our generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see him come back and do something new because I didn't really like the 24 Karat Magic era and I love Cardi and I didn't like Finesse, so it was just.
Oh wow, Finesse is probably my favorite Bruno song.
Yeah, see, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Somewhere in Brooklyn. It was like a bonus track on Doo-Wops and Shenanigans or whatever it was.
Doo-Wops and Hooligans.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I like Doo-Wops and Shenanigans though. That should be the double re-release title.
We can do a parody album and call it that.
I like that. But can I just say the whole Bruno and Anderson .Paak performed twice. And Anderson .Paak's cool. I don't know too much about him. I got a tickle in my nose. I'm not super familiar with him. I liked him, but Bruno, I feel like he's kind of been off the radar for like 5 years or so because 24 Karat Magic came out. I just graduated high school. So that 2016 is when it came out. So he's kind of been MIA for a while. I think he's really been working on his vocals. He sounded so good. I know he's always been good, but I think he's gotten better.
He also probably quit the drugs. I'm just saying.
Probably. Oh my god, that was funny. Just you getting close to the camera, probably quit the drugs. But if it's working for him, so he should keep doing it because he sounded, especially in the Little Richard tribute him and Anderson did.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like how does he do that? Like if Dua and Taylor didn't have the best performances in my opinion, it was Bruno. Like Lil Baby's was good, but I'm such a sucker for live vocals and I couldn't tell if that was live or not. Bruno, I reinvigorated my love for him because I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Bruno a lot of the time. I'm like, I like his music, but for some reason I just forget about him. Like it's like one of those things. Totally in love with him again. Okay, so there were only a couple performances that I thought were bad or kind of just whatever. I put Harry Styles on that list. It wasn't bad. It was just boring to me.
I liked Harry. But I'll be honest, I've never really watched any live footage of him, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I thought it was a little low key, even though they did have the intimate setting and everything. I feel like the performance was a little low key for opening, Maybe they should have put Dua there, or even Bruno and Anderson .Paak would have worked there. But I loved his boa. I loved how it came off in the middle, and I loved the whole thing. I thought his vocals were strong.
I like that his shirt was open.
Yeah.
But and when I first saw the performance and like in my live reaction that I had recorded, I'm like, yeah, he was good, whatever. Because I kind of expected all the performances to be low key and stuff because he opened, so I didn't know exactly what to expect. But as the night went on, you have these big performances from Dua or Megan and Cardi, or like Bad Bunny had that big set built for him.
Oh, I forgot about Bad Bunny.
I forgot
Yes,
about Bad Bunny too until right now. But then I saw like he could have done so much with Watermelon Sugar, and he just didn't. And then he could have performed like Treat People with Kindness or like Golden or Adore You. Like he could have added something else to it. And I feel like it just should have been, there should have been more there. He just kind of put no effort into it, is kind of my thought.
It reminded me of like the Black Crowes or the Rolling Stones, or like just a classic kind of, maybe even Leonard Skinner, like soft rock performance. I enjoyed it. But once again, I'm always the opposite.
And then also on this list, I had Lionel Richie's performance. He sounded old. I hate to say that. He sounded old, like an old time crooner. And he's Lionel Richie, so he can do whatever he wants. But the vocals weren't there like at all.
Right.
And then I put Roddy Ricch. I don't think he ever really sounds good live. He sings the box at a higher register than it was recorded in, and I just does not click for me at all.
That's weird. Why does he sing it higher?
I don't know. It's like he forgets the melody of his own song. It's weird. I don't know.
And he's not as
cute. The drugs.
Right. He's not as cute as Billie to be able to say I forgot how it goes either. Have you seen Billie Eilish's documentary yet?
Not yet. I need to. It's on Apple TV, right? I'm probably gonna knock out Billie's and Demi's both like back to back.
Is Demi's out yet?
I think it comes out like next week. I think sometime soon.
Sorry for the digression.
It's all good. And then I think the worst performance of the night, if you know how much this is going to pain me to say, was Post Malone.
Posty was like, he was just there, man. I'm here. I'm having a good time. I'm chilling, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. I was disappointed, but I've never seen any live footage of Post Malone either. So in my head, I was like, oh, you're fixing to be great. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know why he chose to perform the song Hollywood's Bleeding. Like why he didn't do, everyone else was doing the hit that was nominated. I don't know why he didn't do Circles or like, I don't know, anything else. Like
anything else.
Yeah. Like he could have Take What You Want. He could have
Sunflower was off of that one, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
What one?
Sunflower.
Yeah, but it was nominated for Record of the Year last year, so that's probably why.
I forget.
But like it seemed odd. In a perfect world, I love the song Allergic off of that album. He could have done like Circles and Allergic. But
Circles and Saint Tropez.
Yeah, that would have been cool too. But I don't know, it just didn't work for me. And then two other main thoughts. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go.
Let's say the only two other main thoughts I had were, why did Chris Martin perform just to play the piano? Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Yeah, no, I know who Chris Martin is.
Okay. And then
I didn't know he had performed. I was like, what do you mean? He just played piano.
He played piano for Brittany Howard during the they did in the In Memoriam segment. She performed, he just played the piano. I'm like, that's such a waste of Chris Martin, who is literally nominated for Album of the Year. Like they should have let him. Coldplay should have performed Orphans. That would have been cool.
It would have been fine, but Orphans is that people don't know that album. You know what I'm saying? Unless you know Coldplay, you don't know that album. Let's be honest.
I wonder if Coldplay even knows they were nominated. I wonder if they even remember they put an album out. And then in the same vein to Chris Martin, why did John Mayer come to the Grammys to perform just to play guitar for Maren Morris?
I do not like John Mayer. I could do without seeing him at any Grammys ever. Maren Morris could have had anybody else in the world play guitar for her.
She should have, since she performed The Bones, she should have had H.E.R come with her and sing the remix.
There's a remix with H.E.R?
Oh yeah, that's the only version I listened to.
Oh my God.
Ooh, so when we get off this podcast, you got to go listen to that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And they work so well together. And it gives it, instead of more of a country feel, it has more of a indie pop rock
hear
feel.
it already. Yes, alternative right up my alley.
It is so good. You will love it.
Yeah, they should have totally done. Why do you have John Mayer?
Right? That's how I was like, okay, why is he there? And plus they were like announcing Chris Martin and John Mayer as these big performers. They're both big names. So people are like, oh, okay, we haven't heard from them for a while. Let's see what they're doing.
And so clickbait.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's so weird.
Does John Mayer even make music still? What does he do? Are you just writing for people now, or
I don't know. Apparently he just plays guitar for
Maren Morris.
I don't know.
That's what he deserves.
Well, last time I heard of John Mayer, he was on some video. I was watching some video call with him and Shawn Mendes, and they were just talking. I don't know.
Shawn, why are you friends with him? Does he help you write your music?
Probably.
I will admit, John Mayer's a great musician. He's very talented, but I just don't like him as a person at all.
Yeah, I haven't heard great things. Well, plus there is that song "Dear John" by Taylor Swift that's about John Mayer.
Right, and it's not just Taylor Swift, it's every other woman in Hollywood. Like, get it together, bro.
Yeah, that's rough. So what else is there to talk about for the night? What else do I have written down? Oh, Kanye West won Best Christian Album for I think it was like Best Contemporary Christian Album for Jesus is King, which is really funny because I don't even think it was a year ago. He posted a video on Twitter of him peeing on his Grammy. He took one of his Grammys, put it in the toilet, and peed on it.
Did he really?
Yeah, and then the next year they give him another Grammy.
I quit Twitter in 2016 when everything went bonkers, and I've just really never been back. I check it periodically just because somebody's be like, oh, something's happening on Twitter, so I'm like, let me go see. Right. But I don't use it as frequently, so I didn't know that. He peed on his Grammy. Kanye, get it together, bro. No wonder Kim's leaving you.
He has a lot of them, so if you're gonna pee on one, I suppose you can.
That doesn't make it just because you have a lot of them, that should not make it any less of an achievement or a monument in your life. You should not disrespect something like that, in my opinion.
Right. Well, now he has another one to replace it with.
So. True. Whatever. I mean, maybe you got your maid to clean that one. And we all know Kanye's crazy, so whatever. Yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't use crazy. We all know Kanye struggles with his mental health.
Yes.
But he's also a Gemini. But I'm a Gemini, dude, and I get along in day-to-day life. Come on, I'm not out here doing these crazy things. Kanye.
That you process and that you know.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? So we were going to talk about different records and stuff that were broken. I think we touched on all of them except Beyonce has now broken the record for the most Grammys ever by a vocalist.
Ever.
I believe now she is tied with Quincy Jones for the most Grammys ever. But I think a majority of his Grammys are production and credits on things. So just overall singers, Beyonce is the record holder with 28.
I was gonna say 9. So we'll meet in the middle and say 28.
Perfect. Even if she doesn't have 28, we'll just give her a Grammy for Lemonade
next year.
Won a few years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, I think we kind of touched on everything. For once, I left the Grammys not being mad. I felt a little odd, but I wasn't mad at anything.
And it was was very different. The whole experience all the way around was completely different. And I don't ever really leave the Grammys super mad. When Florence Welch is nominated and she doesn't win, then yes, I'm mad. But usually I'm pretty happy. Like whoever wins, good for them. So, it was nice. It was fun.
Yeah. Like the only thing that I think that would have really made me mad by the end of the night is if anyone other than Taylor or Dua won Album of the Year. Like if Post Malone won it, I would have been upset. I wouldn't have been fuming. I think if anyone else really won it, I would have been pretty irritated, especially if it went to like Jacob Collier, who even is that?
Jacob Collier, he won for like his first 3 or 4 albums that came out. I don't really know who he is either. I've heard his name. I've seen a few songs, but so
yeah. I know he's like a producer. I think he's like a very technical musician. He's very popular in like the actual like musician world, I guess. I don't know too much about him though.
Me either.
To really have an opinion. But I know his album, the one that was nominated, that Jesse Volume 3, never even hit the Billboard 200. And that was the first time an album that was nominated for Album of the Year never charted.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal in and of itself.
Yeah. So like that would have been really weird. And if Coldplay would have won, it would have been so.
That would have been almost like a slap in everybody else's faces. And almost in Coldplay's, because I know they created that album for a reason. I know that they were telling the story and they probably enjoyed it. But I feel like that was an album that Coldplay made for Coldplay because they're at the point in their career that they can do that.
Exactly.
And they would know also, just like Billie Eilish knew that, hey, this Grammy really belongs to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I really want to talk about is the host. Who is Trevor Noah?
So Trevor Noah, so I don't watch his show. So this was my first real exposure to him. I know he has a late night show. He's one of those late night hosts like James Corden and Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, so he's supposed to be funny.
Yes. I think his like awkwardness was kind of part of his shtick.
He said a lot of things I really didn't like. And I can't really put my finger on it, but at the time when I was listening to it, I was like, is that appropriate to say or not?
I remember thinking that he made a comment after Cardi's performance, he got up onto like that big giant bed and he said something along the lines of something I've always wanted to be
in the same bed with Cardi B.
Cardi. Yeah, and I'm just like, bro, don't say that. Like I was like, ew.
There were slight like sneak disses I felt in his presentation speech. What am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for?
In his presentation.
Yeah, sure. In his presentation of the Grammys. And like I said, I should have wrote them down while I was watching it, but it's almost like after every performance, and sometimes even when he was introducing people to tell categories, it was just, I'm going to say what it is, but I don't know. Maybe it was just his delivery. I didn't really like him. Also, I'd gotten used to Alicia Keys and I thought we were going to have her forever.
Why didn't she do it?
I mean, why not? Like, you've already done it.
Right? Well, maybe she was upset that she wasn't nominated at all because she put out a project this year. Underdog was great. That song with Khalid and the one with not with Khalid, the one with Miguel, the one that you had.
Show Me Love.
Yeah, that was a great song. Maybe she was she felt a little betrayed that she did all this work for him and she brought in all these ratings, put on such great shows for 2 years, and then she puts out a good project and nothing. That could be it. She doesn't really strike me as someone who's like that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Right. And you would think that, especially as a musician, she has to know how the Academy works. And so just because you do, you have put in that work for them, that is an unfair playing field, even more so than they already play. And if that were what happened, that would be really sad to find out.
Yeah. Like, and obviously I have there's no merit to that. That's
Right.
just a thought process of something that could have possibly happened. Because if it was me and I put on these 2 shows in a row and then put out new music, they had her perform it last year and then not a single nomination, especially because like Underdog could have been nominated in the pop or the R&B categories.
And
It's just surprising.
I really thought the album would be nominated somewhere, somehow, you know, in some shape, form, or fashion. And so I was surprised not to see her nomination too. But also at the same time, those 2 years of hosting the Grammys, they really kept you in the limelight. They kept people talking about you while you weren't doing a whole lot. You
Right.
know, so maybe it was kind of, maybe she was like, yeah, I'll host again, and you know, we'll work together, and it will be good for both brands, is all.
Yeah. And it could be as simple as I did it for 2 years in a row.
And I'm not doing it this year.
Yeah. Or maybe the Grammys said, hey, she did it for 2 years in a row. Let's get someone new. Like, who knows? I would love for her to return. I think she's a great host. And especially, I think it would have been so nice to have her this year because, like how we've been saying, it felt like more of a love fest, more intimate. I think
And
she would have been a perfect person to really just helm that all in.
she'd have elevated. We would have all been levitating, like, really. You know what I'm saying? She would
Exactly.
have really elevated the experience for sure. And so that was the only thing I was sad about. But other than that, great show.
Yeah. Yeah, no other real comments or concerns or anything. So let's change gears a little bit as we round out this week's podcast. And because we were gone for about, was it a month? 2 months?
Almost 2, yeah.
Yeah, we've been gone for a hot minute. So let's just talk about some songs that we're digging right now, some that we've been digging kind of so far this year. Because and I kind of forgot about the segment until you brought it up. So what are some songs that you're really digging right now that you have been digging this past year or so, basically since we talked? Because I think the last time we talked, I was talking about Anyone by Justin Bieber, and that had just come out. And now that kind of song is starting to feel a little old.
Right.
So what are you listening to right now? I'm going to pull up my Spotify and make sure I don't forget.
Well, We're Good by Dylan Francis and Dua Lipa. Is the Dylan Francis remix.
I totally thought you were going to say, we're good, Dylan.
No, well, you know, y'all, he spells his name differently.
Sorry, I thought that was funny. Just I was like, what?
Yeah, so I love We're Good just by itself, but as the world is starting to open back up, we're starting to see more festival lineups, and Dylan Francis and Dua Lipa are both supposed to be at Life is Beautiful in Las Vegas, and I would love to go, and I would love to see this song performed live there. Like,
Yeah.
Carly Rose, Son and Claire, she just goes by Carly Rose now. She's all grown up. She just released an EP. Back when we first started our podcast, she's got a new single out. It's called First. It's very like kind of edgy, sort of pop. I've been listening to it a lot. I'm back to the soundtrack to The Queen of the South for whatever reason.
Okay.
The Gospel of Teresa, specifically, The Queen of the South. There's a Sinaloa track, which is very like kind of classical guitar. So just a little bit of everything. How about you?
I've really been into this song called Cry Over Boys by Alexander 23. See, he kind of has the same kind of vibe as a Conan Gray or a Lauv or an Alec Benjamin. Like, he's kind of in that kind of pop singer-songwriter kind of lane with like these more low-key pop ballad, power ballad kind of things that for some reason I really like, as I don't know. So it's a really good song. So I've been blaring that one at the top of my lungs. I'm still obsessed with 3435 by Ariana Grande, even though that song's been out for a hot minute. I still have that kind of on repeat. Something about it, it really was a slow grower for me until I'm like, whoa, I'm listening to this a lot. What else am I listening to? All that Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak song that just came out as Silk Sonic, Leave the Door Open. Beautiful, fantastic song. Overdrive by Conan Gray, because I love Conan Gray and it's his new song, and I
As
think it's
soon as I
actually,
saw it, I thought of you.
I love it so much. Let's see. I'm going through my Spotify. Do do do. I already talked about Telepathia by Kali Uchis. I think that's a great song. I haven't listened. It's not one of those songs I've been listening to a lot, but when I do listen to it, I'm like, wow, this is cool. I like this. Oh, Astronaut in the Ocean by
Yes.
Max Wolf. Oh, that is, I hope that's one of the biggest hits of the year. Like I could really see that, because it's still growing right now. That could be like a summer anthem.
I'm waiting to see if it is, because I love that song. You had actually posted it on Facebook, and I'm like, well, let me go see what my friend's talking about. And then I was like,
Yeah.
hey.
Just like I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's that song's really cool because he shows off several different flows. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we're doing like a Drake flow. Oh, now we're full on Kendrick Lamar. And then
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is really cool. Like, oh, there's like a hint of Future right there. I'm like, I'll take
Right.
it. I like it.
I think my favorite part is the little breakdown, and then he's like, and I'm gonna kill everything like this purge. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that's my favorite part of the whole song.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Um, I like so we haven't really talked too much about like Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo. And do you know much about like that whole like
Yes,
story?
I know all about it. I
Yeah.
told my friends about it.
So I am obsessed with Sabrina Carpenter's rebuttal song. Not They all say none of them are related. I don't believe it.
BS. That is
Um
total
so
BS.
Skin by Sabrina Carpenter, I think is fantastic. I've been obsessed with it. That's probably actually maybe my most played song right now.
Yeah, I've been listening to that one too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I when I first heard it, and then I found out that it was the rebuttal song and yada yada. I
Mhm.
like Driver's License. I actually posted a cover of it today to my Instagram. So I like
Go check
Driver's
that out,
License.
everybody.
Yeah, at Chelfell. um, Chellfell. So, but I like Sabrina Carpenter. I have been down with her since Y. You know what I'm saying? Like I really love Sabrina Carpenter. I think she's super cute, super poppy. Pop music is what I grew up on.
Right.
And to me, it's the superior song of the two. Until I sang Driver's License today, and now my feelings are all mixed up, and I don't really know how I feel. I feel
Yeah.
bad for both of those girls, because either way, that guy should have never done either one of you that way, and he should also be telling the blonde girl, "Don't be writing a rebuttal song."
Right. Like don't be doing that. But
Yeah.
also so his song in the Love Triangle, I don't know if you've heard it. It's called Lie Lie Lie.
Oh no, I haven't. I'll have to go
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, each of them released a song. Like Driver's License came out, then I think Lie 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 came out like right after it, and then Skin came out like right after that.
Hmm.
Um, but Lie 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 basically says, I think it's talking a lot to Olivia Rodrigo, saying, you're playing the victim. Everything you're saying is not true. I'm not that, like, this isn't how this happened. You're out here just lying and making me look bad, and this is not true. So, and I mean, they're all very young. So, like, it's very possible Olivia is not as innocent in the situation as she seems. I don't really care one way or the other. As long as we're getting good music, do all your little cat fight stuff. It's doing
Right.
all for
How,
me.
how old is Olivia?
I believe she's 17.
That's what I thought. And then Sabrina Carpenter's like what, 21, 22?
Yeah, she's younger than I am. I think she's 21. And I think Joshua Bassett's 20.
Yeah.
So they're all,
And
yeah.
you're still young too. And I don't
Yeah.
like to admit this, but I'm about to be 30. And so when I was 20, things just felt way more serious than they actually were. You know what I'm saying? Like everything felt like the end of the world.
Right. No,
As
I
I've
still
gotten
find
older.
myself, and I'm not going to call out anybody right now, but I find myself in the middle of these situations where like I think it's one way and the other person thinks it's a totally different way. And it's like there's not drama, but like it is drama and it's blown out of proportion more than it is. I'm like, can I just not be part of this right now? Like, I just got my driver's license last week. All I want to do is drive around. All I want to do is drive up to your house.
That's a little stalkery though, you know, like I'm driving past right now, even though we're not together. Mm.
Let's see. The only other song that I've really, aside from I'm still listening to Evermore on repeat all the time, Good Days by SZA. So good. You know that song?
I do.
I love it.
I've listened to it a few times. Look, I'm like, let me look at my.
Also, we were talking about Jacob Collier earlier. He produced that song. That's
okay. So he's really like a producer then.
I think he's a producer. If he didn't produce it, I know he worked on it in like some sort of somehow. I don't know, but I know he had a big hand in it.
Well, that's cool. I'll have to look him up on Apple Music. Let's see what they say.
But other than that, I think we're good. Any other final parting words, Chelsey?
No, I'm super excited to be back with you and recording Jukebox Junkies, and I'm ready for the next episode, whatever it might be about.
Absolutely. Now that we're done with school, we have actual more time on our hands. We're gonna really try to do this every week. Try to get it out timely manner on a schedule. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet. Maybe do Wednesday recording and then maybe like a Friday or Saturday release. And we'll see kind of how that all falls. But yeah, it is just really nice to be back and just be talking with you guys and talking to you, Chelsey, and not about technical business proposal components that we're having to put together.
Right.
And it's nice to just kind of be like, yeah, we liked Megan and Cardi like doing the
and
whole.
We don't care about their marketing plans at all. Good for them. They work.
I mean, if you want to get in on it and make a 60-page report in a keynote presentation narrated, we totally can do that if you'd prefer.
Right, we've got you.
Maybe. So let us know in the comments if you'd rather us just write 60-page business proposals each week for you, because we're pros. We can totally do that. We'll sell you on it.
For sure.
So that's a hint of the little bit of the craziness that Chelsey and I had to endure last month.
Yeah. And anybody who's ever been part of a business proposal, you guys know, y'all know.
Yeah, 60 pages probably in the grand scheme of things is nothing compared to what full business proposals are. But I think maybe we should try to sell everyone on Jukebox Junkies our idea and try to get it out there and get us rich and famous. What do you think?
We need to make sure all of the real paperwork is filed so we own it first. Well,
just buy. They'll never know. Like, well, they'll never know. I don't like numbers.
Same.
Okay. Well, until next time. Bye, everybody. This has been Jukebox Junkies.